Chapter 487, Green Hat, _4. Fua, skinny and small, showed tear streaks on his face to the point that it was heartbreaking for Mo family's old lady to watch, especially if what he was saying was all true. Then Li Xian was absolutely inhuman. Grandma, I truly don't know these people. Li Xian kneeled down and seized the old lattice wrist. Be quiet. The old lady turned her gaze toward Zhou Tianbao and his son, Fua, continuing, You say Li Xian is your wife. Do you have any proof? Did you get a marriage certificate? Zhou Tianbao started to calm down. Son Dalian started living with me when she was 16. We didn't have a marriage certificate back then, but I have this. Having said this, he took out a photograph from his pocket and handed it to the old lady. Although the photo was in black and white, it did not affect its clarity. The people clearly visible in the picture were Li Xian and Zhou Tianbao. This picture was taken in the photography studio in town on the day when Li Xian and Zhou Tianbao were together. If Li Xian had known this day would come, she would never have agreed to take this picture. Even now, she never quite understood. Why on earth would she have chosen someone like Zhou Tianbao? Why couldn't she have been reborn earlier? If she had been, she absolutely would not have set eyes on Zhou Tianbao. The moment he saw the photograph, Mo Baichuan's face abruptly changed. Every other piece of evidence could be faked, but the photo could not be. In this era, Photoshop technology has not yet been invented. The others in the audience stretched their necks, straining to get a view of the photograph and whispering amongst themselves. This person is not me. Emma, this person is not me. Li Xian shook her head, her face pale, and pulled at Mo Baichuan's sleeve. Baichuan, believe me. Baichuan. The old lady maintained her composure, continuing, What can a single photograph prove? Li Xian currently had the Mo family's legitimate great-grandson in her belly, so the old lady knew she had to tread carefully. Zhou Tianbao said, I know another secret. The old lady said, What secret? Zhou Tianbao cast a glance at Li Xian. Son Dalian has a red birthmark on the left side of her chest. The chest was a private area. Li Xian kept denying knowing Zhou Tianbao. So how did he know about this? Mo Baichuan's face darkened, looking incredibly ugly upon realizing he had been duped by Li Xian, who fooled him with her virginity claims when he was drunk. A woman who intended to marry into the Mo family while being married and having a child, how deluded could she be? She had utterly humiliated him in front of so many people. As the old lady watched Mo Baichuan's face growing steadily more serious, she became certain that Zhou Tianbao was not lying. Zhou Tianbao went on, If you don't believe me, we could do a blood test. Modern medicine is so advanced. We can also do a DNA test. Son Dalian truly is my wife, my son's mother. It took so much for our poor family to get a daughter-in-law. I'm begging you, please give her back to me. The old lattice's face was grave. She had never dreamed that Li Xian would turn out to be such a fickle, ruthless, scheming woman. She still remembered the first time she saw Li Xian at the entrance to the normal university. At that time, Li Xian had happened to come by and fed her a piece of candy to aid her during a fainting spell brought on by low blood sugar. Li Xian claimed she was an orphan with no parents since childhood, which made the old lady feel some pity for her. Gradually, she grew to like the sensible good girl and even had her go to the base to help Mo Baichuan set them up together. Thinking about it now, she realized it was likely that Li Xian had been calculating and using her from the very beginning. Such people were really terrifying. The old lady furrowed her brows. Li Xian, now in tears again, grabbed Mo Baichuan's hand. All lies, everything he said is lies. Baichuan, I am carrying your child. You can't abandon me. Zhang Xianjing stepped up to Mo Baichuan, waved off Li Xianxian's hand, and said, Brother Baichuan, don't let her trick you. This kind of fickle woman, whose child she's carrying in her belly. Who knows? Li Xian was swatted down to the ground where she writhed in pain, clutching her stomach. Zhang Xianjing took out a colored photo from her bag to Mo Baichuan. Brother Baichuan, take a look at this. Mo Baichuan just felt green with rage and disgust. He really wished he could just strangle Li Xianxian right there. Chapter 489, Continuous Face Slapping. _1. As it was a matter of plagiarism, the chief took the meeting with great seriousness. The visitors appeared to be a father and daughter duo. The man was elegant and handsome, with an invisible aura that demanded attention. The child he held by the hand was exquisite. Yet still, whenever glimpsed through the eyes of the child, it was the man who reflected through. It was no one else but Mo Chishin and Mo Hudi. Hello. The chief greeted first. He had met countless people in his life, and he could tell this man was not ordinary. Hello, Chief Liu. The man nodded slightly. Please sit. The chief turned to the assistant. Go and pour Mr. Mo some tea. All right. The assistant turned to make the tea. Mo Chishin didn't immediately respond to the Chief Liu. Instead, he introduced, this is my niece, Mo Hudi, pen name Butterfly Fly. Pen name Butterfly Fly? This little girl looked to be under 10. Was she already writing at such a young age? Mo Hudi greeted politely. Hello, Uncle Chief. Hello, little Butterfly Fly. Within their circle, everyone referred to each other by their pen names. At this, Chief Liu turned again to Mo Chishin. May I ask, Mr. Mo, are you here to defend little Butterfly Fly? Despite having not introduced his own pen name, Mo Chishin first introduced Mo Hudi, hinting that he was here for her, not himself. At this point, Chief Liu was becoming curious. What type of work could come from someone so young as Mo Hudi? Mo Chishin nodded slightly, handing over 2 prepared notebooks to Chief Liu. You will understand if you take a look at these. The notebooks were thick with writing, innocent scribbles maturing to graceful, spirited handwriting, tracking the growth of a little girl. Chief Liu read with great concentration, his face growing more rigid. Does Chief Liu think he's seen these somewhere before? Mo Chishin interjected at the right time. These were all written by Butterfly Fly. Chief Liu was both shocked and incredulous. Yes. Mo Chishin nodded. Chief Liu continued, but these are the works of Li Xianxian, one of our association's authors. This was before the internet and communication was not as developed. The distribution of literary works depended on newspapers and physical publications. There have been instances of plagiarism, albeit a small percentage. It would have been believable if Mo Hudi was accused of plagiarizing Li Xianxian, but vice versa was indeed hard to fathom. After all, Mo Hudi was merely a preteen girl. Ordinarily, a child of her age could barely read, let alone produce works of such caliber. With a steady expression, Mo Chishin said, it was Li Xianxian who stole Xiao Dai's works. Chief Liu's face darkened. That's impossible. It was Hudi who stole my original manuscript. The Mo family is trying to frame me. Chairman, please don't be fooled by them. I have not plagiarized anything. All my works are original ideas and have nothing to do with anyone else. Another senior shakes his head in defeat. Li Xianxian, stop struggling in vain. Your plagiarism isn't even subtle, and your work is dull. It can't be compared to Hudi's original manuscript. Anyone with discerning eyes can tell who copied whom. Chairman Liu continues, Li Xianxian, from now on, you're no longer a part of the literary circle. On behalf of the Association of Authors, we revoke all your author privileges and honors. Henceforth, you won't be able to publish any books. In other words, Li Xianxian has been completely blacklisted in the literary world. Li Xianxian's face turns from pale to ghostly white. I didn't plagiarize. Chairman, I really didn't. Chairman Liu speaks with disappointment. Please leave. Another senior member voices out angrily. You still don't know how to repent. Li Xianxian, you are a disgrace to our literary world. But how could Li Xianxian simply leave? The literary circle is her only sanctuary now. If she leaves, wouldn't that indirectly admit to her plagiarism? But she didn't plagiarize. Allegations of plagiarism can be a big deal. Once it's published in a newspaper, it can even affect her education. As Li Xianxian refuses to leave, Chairman Liu is left with no choice but to call the security. Li Xianxian is thrown out on the street, still clinging to her luggage. The streetlights are not very bright at this time. It's pitch dark at night. Li Xianxian sits under the streetlight, sobbing with her head in her hands. When did her life start to take such a dreadful turn? Over the years, all her hard work has paid off, and things were beginning to look up. Li Xianxian was nothing more than a notorious and evil woman. The Li family would never ruin its reputation and destroy its future. Enraged, Li Xianxian said, Li Yanran, the child in my belly is Tingzi's first baby. If there is any accident, can you bear the responsibility? Who knows whose bastard that is? Li Yanran mocked, Sun Dalian, do you really think you're some sought-after prize? You're nothing but an unwanted rat. Where the security? Get this woman out of here. Li Xianxian tried to resist. Li Yanran, how dare you treat me this way? If Tingji knew about this, he wouldn't let you off. It was unbearable. These people were just unbearable. They dare to treat her like this behind Li Tingzi's back. Hold on. Li Yanran lifted her hand lightly, and the security guards instantly stopped and looked back at her. Li Yanran continued. Since you are so longing to see my brother, I will fulfill your wish. Xiaofang, go upstairs and call my brother down. Yes, miss. Xiaofang nodded, turned around, and climbed up the stairs. Before long, Li Tingji came down from upstairs. Seeing Li Tingji, Li Xianxian's eyes lit up instantly, and she rushed to him. Tingji. This time, the security guards didn't stop her. Li Xianxian had a belly full of grievances to pour out to Li Tingji. However, Li Tingji swung away Li Xianxian with one hand, shouting angrily, Get lost! You disgust me! Li Xianxian was knocked to the ground. She looked at Li Tingji in disbelief and cried out in anguish. Tingji, don't you recognize me? Xianxian, Li Tingji never expected that one day he would be deceived so badly by a woman. Everything about Li Xianxian was fake. Her talent was a sham. Li Wei expressed his gratitude, then asked, Teacher Su, may I take this paper home for my friend to study? Teacher Su readily agreed. You may. Li Wei thanked him again. Teacher Su nodded. After Li Wei left, he kept praising Li Wei for his maturity to Teacher Yin. Meanwhile, as soon as Li Wei got home, Li Dongliang and Qian Jinfeng rushed over to greet him. Xiao Wei, how did you do in your exam? 510 marks, Li Wei answered gloomily. 510 marks. Li Dongliang and Qian Jinfeng were both overjoyed at the news. Li Dongliang asked, Is this score enough to get into a key university? Xiao Wei, which school are you planning to apply to? To get into a key university. At that time, even a fresh graduate from an ordinary university could secure a secure job. 3 generations of the Li family were all farmers. Li Dongliang never dreamed that his family could produce a university student. It was like good luck had struck the ancestral grave. Qian Jinfeng could not contain her smile. Xiao Wei, where's your report card? Let me see it quickly. Li Wei handed over his report card to Qian Jinfeng and then turned around to go into the room. Li Dongliang and Qian Jinfeng held the score report. 510 marks. It's really 510 marks. I'm not dreaming. Our son is really incredible. The couple went around showing off their son's report card to their neighbors and discussed when to host a celebration party. For an ordinary family, producing a college student was a big deal and it was worth celebrating. Li Wei carefully examined Ni Yang's paper in his room. He found that the transfer student exam was quite easy. If he had taken the exam, his score would not have been lower than Ni Yang's. So, he made a bold decision. He decided to forego his current college entrance exam score and choose to retake the exam. With his current performance, if he repeated a year, his score next year would definitely top Ni Yang's, and he might even become the top scorer in the college entrance exam. Before meeting Ni Yang, Li Wei would have been satisfied with his score of 510. But after meeting Ni Yang, he was no longer satisfied with a 510. Moreover, at this time, there was no tuition-free policy. To repeat senior 3-year, it would cost 200 yuan for tuition and textbooks, not to mention other miscellaneous expenses. With these 200 yuan, wouldn't it be better spent on buying big spare ribs for dinner? This hardware store run by the Li family had an annual income of less than 3,000 yuan. Mom, Dad, with 510 points, I can only attend an average first-tier university. After graduation, I won't even be able to find a good job. But 985 project universities are different. With a degree from these institutions, I can get a job in a government department immediately after graduation. Isn't the aim of your supporting me through my education so that I can have a good future? This remark slightly swayed Li Dongliang, as those working in government departments are all officials. Looking back 3 generations in the Li family, none of them have ever been officials. If Li Wei could become a high-ranking official, wouldn't that be prestigious? Li Dongliang continued. Xiao Wei, what if you don't get into a 985 project university? I won't fail, Li Wei continued. With my score of 510 as a foundation and repeating another year of senior 3, how could I possibly fail? Dad, you don't need to worry about this at all. What Li Wei said made sense. Qian Jinfeng asked, what if the exam questions are harder next year? Li Wei laughed. Mom, you don't need to worry about that at all either. Our teacher said that this year had the hardest exam questions in the past 3 years, and next year won't be harder than this year. Also, I will continue to study during this repeating year. Even if I perform worse, my score will absolutely not be lower than 510 points. After wavering for a long time, the couple consented to retake the exam, swayed by Li Wei's persuasion. Upon hearing the news of Li Wei's decision to retake the exam, even teacher Yin was quite surprised, but Li Wei insisted on retaking the exam, so he could only respect his choice. Because no one took care of the hospitalization fee, Li Xianxian was forced to discharge herself from the hospital. A dozen policemen in uniform charged in. Freeze, police! Li Xianxian was now completely blinded by rage. She couldn't even see the police. And Yang, I'm going to kill you. Yang Yang! Mo Qishan suddenly rushed over, pulled Yang away, and deflected Li Xianxian's kitchen knife. At the same time, the police officers managed to subdue Li Xianxian. Mo Qishan, his hand covered in blood, panicked. His voice trembled. Yang Yang. Yang slowly opened her eyes and winked at Mo Qishan. What a joke. She wasn't stupid. How could she let Li Xianxian injure her? Just now, Yang deliberately avoided the critical area, so although it seemed like she lost a lot of blood, she was not seriously hurt. In fact, Yang spotted Li Xianxian's cruel face at the noodle restaurant. Since she couldn't kill Li Xianxian without facing the consequences, she had to trap her instead. Once captured, she wouldn't have to worry about Li Xianxian anymore. Otherwise, leaving Li Xianxian in the world made Enai Yang feel uneasy. Attempted murder and kidnapping might not carry a death sentence, but a crime involving bloodshed could be different, particularly since Li Xianxian was still shouting about killing her even when the police arrived. Seeing Enai Yang wink at him, Mo Qishan breathed a sigh of relief. He turned to the policeman and said, "Officers, I'm taking my girlfriend to the hospital first. Please ensure justice is served for her." Rest assured, Mo Qishan took Enai Yang to the hospital where the doctor bandaged her and suggested that she stay for observation for a few days. Hearing this news, Enai Tsuehua was terrified. Holding little Enai Yun, she hurried to the hospital, her eyes red from crying. "Yang Yang, are you okay?" Several villagers from Jinghua village also arrived with her. Muttered Granny Lin, quite astonished. "He's so young and already so wealthy. What does his family do?" "Xiaowang, do you know what Xiaoma does?" "I'm not really sure." Xiaowang shook his head. "I'm just a driver." For a moment there, Mo Qishan became the dream husband in everyone's eyes. Each person marveled at how great an eye Quihua's life was. Not only did she have a sensible and beautiful daughter, but also a rich son-in-law. After everyone left, Mo Qishan returned to the ward with Enai Tsuehua. Little Enai Yun was asleep on the bed, while Enai Yang was writing something. To give the mother and daughters some quiet space, Mo Qishan quietly left the ward. Out in the corridor, he lit a cigarette. The sight of his thin lips clutching the cigarette, his face half obscured in the smoke, was mysteriously sexy, drawing the eyes of passing nurses and pedestrians. Mo Qishan, suddenly, an overjoyed female voice sounded from behind. Mo Qishan looked back slightly, somewhat stunned. The woman was young, wearing a dark cheongsam. She smiled and said, "Mo Qishan, what brings you to the hospital?" She seemed to know him, but Mo Qishan couldn't remember who she was at all. Slightly frowning, he requested, "Who are you?" Other than Ai Yang, every other woman, to him, was no different than random passers-by. If this woman hadn't been wearing a cheongsam, which Enai Yang often wore, Mo Qishan probably wouldn't have given her another glance. Seeing Mo Qishan's reaction, disappointment flashed in the young woman's eyes. She then said, "Mg Ro, don't you remember?" Mo Qishan shook his head slightly. Chapter 503. Li Xianxian was sentenced to death. The boss is a straight male _5. "Let me feed you." Mo Qishan held the bowl tightly in his hand, making it impossible for Enai Yang to grab it from him. "I promise your aunt that I'd take good care of you." Seeing Mo Qishan so determined, Enai Yang had no choice but to play her role as a giant baby waiting to be fed. "Brother Mo, aren't you going to eat?" Mo Qishan fed her a spoonful of chicken soup. "I'll eat after you've had enough." And Ai Yang laughed. "You're making it sound like I'm torturing you by not letting you eat." Mo Qishan replied, "I'm more than happy to. Why are you so sweet-talking?" And Ai Yang pinched his face. Mo Qishan raised his brows slightly. "You already know how sweet it is without even tasting." And Ai Yang, "He's getting better and better at flirting. I'm losing." At night, and Ai Yang slept in the hospital bed, while Mo Qishan curled up on the sofa. With his tall stature and long legs, the sofa seemed a bit cramped. A single turn could cause him to fall to the floor. Fortunately, Mo Qishan was a peaceful sleeper, and Ai Yang observed for a long time, but never saw him fall off the sofa. As she watched, she became drowsy and fell asleep. At this moment, The man who was supposed to be sound asleep suddenly opened his eyes. Like a cheetah on a hunt, he was ready to pounce. The next day, Immerse came back from buying food, bringing good news with him. Li Xianxian was sentenced to death, to be executed in 3 months. Upon hearing this news, Enai Yang let out a sigh of relief. After all, Li Xianxian was the culprit behind her murder in her previous life. If Li Xianxian didn't die, Enai Yang always felt uneasy. In the afternoon, Enai Yang was resting in bed when there was a commotion at the entrance of the ward. Then, the elderly Mrs. Mo, Mr. Mo, Lin Pingping, Mo Hudi, and others came in carrying bags of nutritious goodies. Because Enai Yang had specifically asked Mo Qixin not to mention this to the 2 elders, they had only just found out about it. Upon hearing the news, they rushed over immediately. Yang, are you okay? Are you feeling better? Mrs. Mo asked, her eyes red with worry. And I'm fine. And Yang got up and did a couple of turns. As you can see, I'm full of energy. There's nothing wrong with me. Mrs. Mo grumbled. It's all that careless boy's fault. How could he not tell us anything about such a big event? Yang, you're really okay, right? And Yang laughed. I'm really okay, don't worry. I was actually the one who asked Brother Mo not to tell you. Don't blame him. Mrs. Mo looked around the hospital ward. Where's little Six? Isn't he with you? This ridiculous boy. How could he be your boyfriend? He deserved a good beating. And Yang replied, Brother Mo went to buy meals. He should be back soon. Chapter 505, Boss, Where's Your Obsessive Cleanliness? You look a lot like Mrs. Zhang when she was young_2. Wu Daming gobbled down 3 large bowls of rice enthusiastically, speaking with his mouth full. This is so delicious. You are an incredible cook, Six sister-in-law. And Yin smiled. If you enjoy the food, eat as much as you want, don't be shy. Wu Daming said, Thank you, Six sister-in-law. And Yin picked a piece of braised pork with her chopsticks, bit off and swallowed the lean part, then casually tossed the fatty piece into Mo Qixin's bowl. Mo Qixin immediately ate the piece she had discarded. Wu Daming was left speechless at this sight. He originally assumed Mo Qixin would toss the piece aside. Unexpectedly, not only did Mo Qixin eat it readily, he appeared to enjoy it immensely. How extraordinary was that? Did Qixin not have a cleanliness obsession? When did his aversion to unclean items get resolved? At this point, Wu Daming looked utterly bewildered. Upon noticing his reaction, the curious Yin looked up and asked, Wu Daming, is something wrong? Are you feeling unwell? No, not at all. Wu Daming shook his head vigorously, then dismissively said, I'm just feeling too full. Pathetic, muttered Mo Qixin. Wu Daming, if you're so dignified, why are you eating your wife's leftovers? After they had finished eating, Yin saw off Mo Qixin and Wu Daming. Wu Daming very prudently walked up ahead, allowing Yin and Mo Qixin to linger behind. Yin said, Brother Mo, come to my house for lunch the day after tomorrow. Mo Qixin nodded. Okay. Soon, they reached the village entrance, where the black luxury car was parked beneath the large banyan tree. At first, when a luxury car was parked at the village entrance, the villagers were very curious and even crowded around to have a look. After all, cars were a rare commodity during that era. However, as the car made more frequent appearances, the villagers became accustomed to the sight. Time flew quickly, and little Yun's birthday was only 1 day away. Yun planned to celebrate little Yun's birthday wholeheartedly. So she started preparing the birthday cake today. Actually, there were already cake shops in Beijing at this time, but the custom-made designs all looked the same. Either it would be a big immortal peach or an old-fashioned flower, and they were all made with food coloring and cream, so it wasn't healthy. Hence, Yun decided to hand-make a cake. and I Yin is a person of strong execution. She immediately rolled up her sleeves and got to work in the kitchen. The first step in making a cake is kneading the flour. Chapter 507. Boss, where's your obsessive cleanliness? You look a lot like Mrs. Young when she was young_4. Old lady Mo turned to look at old Master Mo. Old man, don't you think Yang Yang's mom looks familiar? Old Master Mo furrowed his brows slightly. She does seem somewhat familiar. Old lady Mo continued. Yang Yang's mom, where's your hometown? And I Tsuehua replied, my hometown is Haicheng. Old lady Mo nodded. Haicheng is nice. The girls from there are always very charming. No wonder you gave birth to such a pretty and well-behaved child like Yang Yang. Ah, is this little Yin Yin? Let Annie hold you, okay? Normally, old lady Mo could have been little Ni Yun's grandmother, but today she was an aunt. Little Ni Yun was not shy at all and opened her arms, shouting auntie, which made old lady Mo very happy. If it were not for her old age, old lady Mo might have even wanted another child. And Suehua continued, let's not stand at the door, let's go inside and sit. The group of people went inside, and Yang was handing out disposable cups for tea. Actually, disposable cups did not exist at this time. These cups were produced by the factory when Yang had ordered custom milk tea cups. Yang, let me help you. Mo Chishin picked up the kettle. Yang poured the tea leaves, and he poured the hot water. As there were many people, the living room seemed a bit crowded. This was Mo Hudie's first time in the countryside. She was very excited and curious about everything. Yang Guobao explained everything along the way. Shout I, look, this is a bread oven. Do you know what a bread oven is for? I don't know. Mo Hudie shook her head. Yang Guobao said, Shout I, you're really silly. You're a writer. A bread oven, as the name implies, is for making bread. And let me tell you, Sister Yang and I made this bread oven by hand. Look here, this is where Sister Yang and I wrote our names in our own handwriting. Wow, really? Mo Hudie looked admiringly at it. She also wanted to build a bread oven with Sister Yang. Yang Guobao went on, I have many good friends in the village, too. Come on, shout I. I'll introduce you to my good friends. Okay. Mo Hudie happily followed Yang Guobao's footsteps. Yang Guo took Mo Hudie to the secret base where everyone often played together. Xiaohua, Penghu, Guochang, Xiaoshuan, Zhuzi, Yueyang. Let me introduce you. This is my good friend Mo Hudie. You can call her Xiao Dai. The village children all greeted Mo Hudie in a friendly manner. After hellos, Yang Guobao suddenly realized something was amiss. Scratching his head, he said, Hey, where's Gooden? Gooden is at home, doing homework. Penghu replied. Yang Guobao exclaimed in surprise. Gooden is being diligent today. Chapter 508. Boss, where's your obsessive cleanliness? You look a lot like Mrs. Young when she was young_5. A pot of grilled fish with all the side dishes, delicious and convenient. The cold dish was sour and spicy ear mushrooms, pickled chicken feet, then smashed cucumber and spinach mixed with vermicelli. The stir-fried dishes were spicy crab, spicy fried river snails, and sautéed green beans with river prawns. Then, a winter melon and kelp pork rib soup. Eating more kelp and winter melon in the summer is said to have slimming and whitening benefits. After preparing all the dishes, Yang stewed the grilled fish with sides in the pot. Then she began making the cake. The cake base from the bakery oven was beautiful, golden, and fragrant, making one's mouth water. Mo Chishin exclaimed in surprise. Yang, are you making your own birthday cake? MHM. Yang nodded her head, cutting a piece of the cake and stuffing it into Mo Kishin's mouth. Brother Mo, taste if it's good or not. The bite was soft, with a strong milky fragrance. It was fluffy and melted in the mouth. It was sweet, but not too rich, incomparably more delicious than the one sold outside. Delicious. Imo-chishin nodded his head. That's good. And Aiyong took out cream, fruits, and cocoa sauce to start decorating the cake. And Aiyong had baked 4 cake bases, intending to share with the village children. That meant she was making a 4-layered cake. She spread cream and cocoa sauce evenly on each layer, then topped with diced mango and strawberries. On the top layer, she decorated it with cute little cherries before writing "Happy Birthday" with strawberry sauce. And just like that, a gorgeous birthday cake was completed. Simple, beautiful, and still delicious. After making the cake, she put it in the kitchen, planning to have it after lunch, and then blow the candles on the cake. One table wasn't enough for everyone at noon, so Aiyong combined 2 tables into one. Everyone chatted while eating, happy and content. After the meal, Aiyong and Imo-chishin carefully moved the cake to the center of the table. Wow, such a beautiful cake. Yang, I heard from Lao Lu that you made this cake yourself? And Aiyong nodded. Yes, that's right. Yang, you are simply capable of everything. Lin Pingping exclaimed. Before meeting Aiyong, Lin Pingping never knew a girl could be so strong. Aiyong changed her perception of women and allowed her to see herself properly. If it weren't for Aiyong, she wouldn't be where she is today. Aiyong smiled and replied, Sister Pingping, it's just a cake. It isn't as exaggerated as you're saying. Old Mrs. Amo looked at Aiyong, love overflowing in her eyes. How could such a good girl fall into her dog son's hands? Chapter 511, Training Class. Mrs. Shangwan exposes the true faces of Lin Fong and her mother_3. Shangwan Dehui said with a smile, You're overthinking it. Shangwan Furong said, That Lin Fong seems to have decent qualifications, and though she may not come from a wealthy background, she's presentable. Brother, you must seize the opportunity well. Shangwan Dehui nodded. Then Shangwan Dehui continued. Brother, be honest with me. Do you still have feelings for Daya? I've long forgotten about her. Shangwan Dehui said casually. Shangwan Furong said with a smile. If you've really forgotten, then why haven't you found someone new over all these years? Shangwan Dehui was silent for a while, eventually not saying much. During this period, having nearly finished dealing with other trivial matters, including those concerning Li Xianxian, Aiyong began to officially handle the restaurant's affairs. The renovation of the restaurant had already progressed by a third and was expected to open around August. Aiyong wanted to create a different dining experience, prioritizing service first and then the dishes. After all, in the future there is a saying, service comes first. In the service-indifferent 80s, elevating the overall service level would be a unique feature. Moreover, this time, Aiyong was not setting up a budget restaurant, but venturing into a high-end restaurant, implementing a VIP membership system with no branches, just this one exclusive establishment. After all, scarcity breeds value. To elevate the overall service consciousness, there must be a distinctive corporate culture and a custom-made customer-first service manual. Having considered this early on, whenever Aiyong had some free time, she would be found hunched over the table, drawing and writing. Indeed, what she was creating was this material. Aiyong indeed had the advantage of experiences from her past life. As long as the marketing strategy remained unchanged, the rest was relatively simple. Early in the morning, Aiyong had posted recruitment notices on the bulletin board next to the restaurant. Just as she finished posting, people began to gather around. The general manager's salary is 120 yuan. The deputy general manager's salary is 100 yuan. Managers get 80 yuan, while regular waiters and food runners earn 40 yuan. Even dishwashers get 40 yuan. My goodness, am I seeing things? In this era, a teacher's salary is less than 30 yuan a month, and a waiter at a state-run hotel earns just 15 yuan a month. Yet here, a regular waiter's salary goes up to 40 yuan a month. How could people not be surprised? And Ai Yang stood by and said with a smile, "You're not seeing things. It's really that much." If she wanted to offer a unique dining experience, naturally, she had to raise the wages. Chapter 513, Training Class. Mrs. Shangguan exposes the true faces of Lin Fong and her mother_5. The poor have their own way of living, as do the rich. Although it is impossible to find work without an education, it is still possible to return to the hometown and far in the land. Upon hearing this, Fua's eyes gradually darkened. He does not want to grow up to be like his father, but he is powerless to change the status quo. And Ai Yang said, "It's unacceptable not to let Fua go to school. I have a decent job here. Would you like to try?" "What job?" Zhou Tianbao asked. "Warehouse manager," and Ai Yang replied. "What is a warehouse manager?" Zhou Tianbao asked, somewhat puzzled. And Ai Yang explained to him what a warehouse manager was. And Ai Yang wanted to expand a restaurant, and a warehouse manager is definitely indispensable. Although the warehouse manager may seem like a minor role, it is actually very important as it manages the vital point of a restaurant. And Ai Yang wouldn't trust anyone else with this position, but she could do so with Zhou Tianbao without hesitation. Zhou Tianbao is grateful and is not the same kind of person as Li Xianxian. Upon hearing this, Zhou Tianbao hesitated. "I'm afraid I can't handle it. I can't read. What if I cause trouble for Ai Yang, who trusts me so much?" And Ai Yang smiled and said, "The warehouse manager checks the goods and equipment incoming and outgoing from the warehouse, keeps records, and distributes the goods. It's enough if you can make sure the accounts are correct. You don't need to recognize too many characters. I'm not asking you to start working right away. There's still over a month of training." Zhou Tianbao was somewhat lacking in self-confidence. And Ai Yang continued, "There will be a dedicated teacher to teach you. As long as you study hard, there will be no problem recognizing the basic characters. Adults who have fully developed brains can learn to recognize characters better than children as long as they are willing." Seeing that Zhou Tianbao was still indecisive, and Ai Yang added, "Fua is only 6 years old. His life has infinite possibilities. For the sake of Fua, you should give it a try. For a common family, education is perhaps not the only way out, but it is the best way. Among all things, only education is the most valuable." After a long hesitation, Zhou Tianbao finally accepted. "All right, Miss and I'll give it a try. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. Rest assured, I won't let you down." And Ai Yang smiled and nodded. "That's a deal. I believe in you. Come for training the day after tomorrow. The address is number 619, Jinxiao Road." "All right." Zhou Tianbao nodded. After finalizing this matter, Ai Yang intended to say goodbye. Before leaving, Fua led Ai Yang by the hand to show her his clay creations. Fua proudly said, "Sister Ai Yang, look, I made all these clay figures on my own." Ai Yang looked at the clay figures, falling into an unexplained silence. After a while, she looked down at Fua and asked, "Fua, what's your full name?" Fua replied, "My full name is Zhou Fua." Zhou Fua. And Ai Yang had originally thought Fua was just a nickname, but she never expected Fua to be his real name. Zhou Fua indeed. The later famous, large-scale jewelry brand that spread across the north and south was called Zhou Fua. Looking at how Fua was making clay figures, and Ai Yang was almost certain that Fua was the future founder of Zhou Fua Jewelry. It was different, even the way he played with clay. And Ai Yang continued, "Fua, could you tell me what these figures you've made are?" And Ai Yang didn't expect to meet a future jeweler magnate. The feeling was quite mystical. Fua said, "This is a ring. This is a bracelet. This is a gem necklace. Sister and Yang, when I grow up, I will definitely buy these things and give them to you." And Yang was surprised and said, "Really? Really?" Fua nodded seriously. Not only these things, but he also wanted to give Sister and Yang all the best things in the world. And Yang smiled and said, "Then I should thank you in advance." Fua said shyly, "You're welcome." The next day, Yang continued to recruit in front of the restaurant. As she predicted, the number of people who came to interview for the positions of general manager, deputy general manager, and manager increased on this day. After all, the salaries that she offered were relatively high. Under the attractive salaries, all positions were filled by the afternoon of the very same day. With the addition of the front of the house, the kitchen, logistics, and the managers, a total of 150 people were recruited. The restaurant has 3 floors in total, covering an area close to 2,000 square meters. It really wasn't too many to have 150 employees. Chapter 517. Dominance teaches how to be a human. Traveling abroad _3. I've learned a bit of martial art, and Yang answered truthfully. Good, good. Lady Shangwan nodded in approval. It's indeed good for a girl to learn some self-defense skills. They'll have Xiaoxi start learning it when we get back home. And Yang smiled and nodded. Lady Shangwan continued. That mother-daughter duo just now was really troublesome. Anyone who marries such a girl would be bringing misfortune upon his family. Indeed, quite troublesome, and Yang added. I had a feeling that girl was targeting me, but I've never even met her before. It's really strange. I think they did it on purpose. Snobbish bitches. Just because they have a bit of money, they start acting as if they're from the high and mighty. Lady Shangwan's impression of Lin Fong and Chang Yu couldn't have been worse. After all, it was the first time in her life that she had come across such outrageous people. The dress from before is available here too. Do you want to buy it? And Yang pointed to an identical dress. No need. Who would want to wear the same clothing as those types of people? Yang, let's choose something different. All right. And Yang nodded slightly. This time, Yang chose a noblewoman's dress for Mrs. M.O., complemented by a coordinating silk scarf. It must be stated, Yang had a discerning eye. After Mrs. M.O. put on this dress, she looked several years younger, her elegance radiating. Yang, is it pretty? Lady Shangwan twirled around like a child. Yes, like an elderly empress dowager, and Yang seriously complimented. Laughing, Lady Shangwan replied, You're always making up stories to indulge me. I'm telling the truth. Lady Shangwan happily went to pay the bill. Just as Lin Fong and Chang Yu got home, a distinguished guest arrived. This person was Lin Ho Hat, Lin Fang's aunt. Since she married well at an early age, she was now considered a semi-high society member, and everyone called her Auntie Lin. Why only a semi-high society member? Because her husband's financial standing paled in comparison to half of the other high society members, and that is why she's so keen on playing matchmaker. Once a match is made, their family gains the support of 2 more dependable families. Fortunately, the high society do lack this profession. Real high society ladies would not be willing to stoop to playing matchmaker and being subjected to others' orders. Auntie's here. Lin Fong courteously welcomed Auntie Lin into the house. Even a usually arrogant and domineering Chang Yu greeted. Hello, Auntie Grandma. Good, good. Auntie Lin nodded in satisfaction. Xiaoya is getting prettier as she grows. She'll definitely be successful in the future. A hint of complacency appeared at the corner of Chang Yu's mouth. Lin Fong said, Look at this child. She knows nothing. Hurry up and thank your Auntie Grandma. and Suehua hasn't been abroad or seen the sea. So this is perfect. That evening, Yang mentioned this plan at the dinner table, and Suehua declined. Going abroad will be such a waste of money. Isn't it just a birthday? There's no need for such grand preparations. And Yang laughed and said, you don't have to worry about the money. And Suehua knew Yang had money, but she didn't want to waste it because she knew that it wasn't easy for Yang to earn money. After all, she had been selling spicy sticks for more than 2 months and only earned over 1,000 yuan. And Chungue commented, Yang's mom, Yang is sincere in her filial piety, so don't refuse. I've been wanting to travel. Have you noticed that Chanhua hasn't been home since last year? And Yang turned her head towards Chungue. And why don't you come with us? And Chungue said, I won't go. If I were to go, I would let my daughter Chanhua take me. As much as she said that, and Chungue knew she couldn't rely on her daughter at all. Although her daughter had a stable job, the pay was low. She was in the kind of situation where she had no shortage of small changes but lacked large sums of money. Otherwise, she wouldn't hesitate to come home during holidays because round-trip fares for both her and her husband would cost them almost 300 yuan. That was still money, wasn't it? Such a job is at best just good-looking, and it can't compare with Yang's. And Chungue had already accepted. She couldn't count on her daughter anymore in this lifetime. Yang continued, Annie and I, just come with us, consider an early employee benefit for me. If you don't go, my mother won't go either. Going abroad would cost a lot, and Chungue was not the sort of ignorant person. Yang, don't be polite. Besides, I can't go now anyway. You and your mother should go. After saying that, and Chungue continued, don't worry, Sawa. I will take good care of the chickens and ducks at home. But Suehua still refused. And Yang held Huihua's hand. Mom, can you come with me? I really want to go to country. And Suehua said, then you can go and play by yourself. Young people like you should travel around and broaden your horizons. I'm really not interested in traveling. Country, I think they're no better than our China. And Yang laughed and said, I'm just asking you to go for a trip, not to settle down there. Besides, are you sure you'd let me go and play alone? What if I, a young girl, run into some bad people? Mom, don't you worry about me? At these words, Huihua's originally firm heart began to waver. She was afraid Yang might run into danger. Mom, just come with me, said Yang, pushing the envelope. And Chungue added from the side, Suehua, you should go with Yang. It's rare for Yang to be so filial. Besides, it's indeed unsafe for a young girl to travel alone. Only then did Suehua agree with some hesitation. Chapter 521. Lin Fong and her daughter's dream of living in luxury shattered _2. Hello, Auntie. Hello, Auntie. Chanyu greeted politely. Auntie? Lin Fong felt something was off the moment she heard those words. So this woman was Su Fin's sister, Shengwan Dehui's original wife? How many years has Su Fin been dead? And why Su Yin is still involved with the Shengwan family? Is she eyeing the Shengwan family's property? That's too shameless. Shengwan Furong had a good impression of Changyu, smiling and nodded. Although Su Yin was a little dissatisfied, she did not show it. Shengwan Dehui turned to Shengwan Shi. Where is your grandma and your brother? Shengwan, she said. Grandma felt a sudden headache when she got up this morning. Brother took her to the hospital. Went to the hospital? Is the old lady all right? Should we go to the hospital to check? Lin Fong asked anxiously. Shengwan, she smiled and said, Auntie Lin, you don't have to worry. I just called and Grandma is fine. They're on their way back. That's good. Lin Fong sighed in relief. Her worried look was such that someone who didn't know would think Lin Fong was the birth daughter of the Shengwan matriarch. Shengwan De continued, quickly sit down, don't stand. Only then did Lin Fong sit down with Changyu. Lin Fong picked up the gift box she had prepared in advance. This is a gift I prepared for the old lady. This one is for Furong. At this moment, with both Shangwan Furong and Su Yin present, it was somewhat inappropriate for Lin Fong to bring up the matter of gifts. Because both Shangwan Furong and Su Yin, like Shangwan Su and Shangwan Shi, were their elders, but Lin Fong hadn't prepared a gift for Su Yin. This made Su Yin feel a little embarrassed. What kind of person is Lin Fong? Does she not realize this? In reality, she did this on purpose to embarrass Su Yin. What was Su Yin? A mere outsider. The Shangwan family gave her a little face by calling her big sister. If the Shangwan family didn't want to deal with her, she would be less than a pile of dog shit. Su Yin had no right to criticize her. Lin Fong did this intentionally to let Su Yin see her place. By coincidence, Shangwan Furong and Su Yin didn't get along. Shangwan Furong smiled and said, "You even prepared a gift for me?" Seeing Shangwan Furong like this, Lin Fong felt reassured. She handed the prepared gift box to Shangwan Furong. "I hope you won't mind, Furong." Shangwan Furong took the gift box, opened it, and exclaimed, "It's ice skin jade flesh. I wanted this moisturizing cream for so long, but I haven't been able to buy it. You're so thoughtful." No woman does not love beauty, especially since ice skin jade flesh was so hard to buy. Lin Fong smiled and said, "I'm glad you like it, Furong." After a pause, she added, "I didn't know Big Sister would be here today, so I didn't prepare a gift for her. I hope she won't mind." Chapter 522. The Luxury Dream of Lin Fong and Her Daughter Shattered _3. Shangwan Furong laughed and said, "I think they look quite alike." Su Yin was overly fond of poking her nose into other people's business. Throughout these years, she interfered in everything regarding Shangwan Su and Shangwan Shi, behaving as if the Shangwan family would mistreat these two children. That's why Shangwan Furong had never liked Su Yin. Su Yin frowned slightly. That Lin Fong, at first glance, doesn't look like someone who is content and suited for a family-oriented life. I would agree if she becomes the wife of the Shangwan family, but if she is to become the mother of Xiaoxiu and Xiaoxi, I would be the first to disagree. A mocking look appeared between Shangwan Furong's brows. "Sister Su Yin, before you said that, did you ask Xiaoxi and Xiaoxiu how they feel?" As far as I know, both of them really like Lin Fong. Her words imply that Su Yin was being nosy. After all, the main parties, Shangwan Su and Shangwan Shi, hadn't said anything yet. Was it Su Yin's turn to have a say? A shade of displeasure flashed across Su Yin's face. Shangwan Furong continued, "Brother, I think Lin Fong is quite good, and Xiaoxiu and Xiaoxi both seem like her too." Su Yin chose not to say anything more. Shangwan Hui followed up, "Let's wait until Mom and Xiaoxiu come back. I will go by Mom's decision." One was his wife's sister, and the other was his sister. It wouldn't be good for Shangwan Hui to offend either of them. Shangwan Furong laughed and said, "I believe Mom would also like Lin Fong and Changyu." The group returned to the living room. Shangwan Furong subtly gave Lin Fong a reassuring look. Only then did Lin Fong relax. At that moment, footsteps echoed in the room. "Mom's back." Shangwan Furong stood up. Lin Fong and Changyu also stood up. The old lady of the Shangwan family had dressed specially in an elegant dress, brought by N.I. Yang a couple of days ago, to meet her future daughter-in-law. Despite feeling a bit of a headache in the morning, it didn't affect her complexion. Shangwan Su held her arm as they slowly walked into the room. Since Changyu had taken an overt interest in Shangwan Su, she had been watching him all along and didn't notice the old lady of the Shangwan family beside him. Shangwan Su was very handsome. He was extraordinarily talented and elegant. He was even more impressive looking than the most desirable guy in their school, and Changyu gazed at him almost obsessively. Su Yin looked over with a dismissive gaze. A hint of displeasure flashed in her eyes. These mother and daughter really have unrestrained ambitions. She hoped that the elderly lady of the Shangwan family would see this clearly. They couldn't let these kinds of people step into the Shangwan family's threshold. Lin Fong looked at the old lady of the Shangwan family, slightly frowning. Why did she get the feeling that this old lady looked familiar? Had she seen her somewhere before? After all, they had only met at the clothing store 2 days ago, and she had been solely focused on Ni Yang at the time. She barely paid any attention to the old lady of the Shangwan family. It was normal for her to not remember her after 2 days. Could it be her imagination? A grand old lady like the one from the Shangwan family wasn't someone she would typically encounter. Mom, this is your future daughter-in-law, Lin Fong. This is her daughter, Changyu. Shangwan Furong held the old lady of the Shangwan family's arm, introducing them. In fact, even before they met, the old lady already had a good impression of Lin Fong. Otherwise, she wouldn't have dressed so formally. Old lady, Lin Fong greeted with a smile. Only then did Changyu snap out of it, diverting her attention from Shangwan Su, and said politely, Grandma. Upon seeing her, Changyu also found the old lady of the Shangwan family somewhat familiar. Had she encountered this old lady somewhere? The old lady of the Shangwan family was advanced in age, and her eyesight wasn't so great. She hadn't gotten a good look at Lin Fong and Changyu from a distance earlier, so she now used this opportunity to take a closer look at these mother and daughter. Upon seeing them, the smile on the old lattice face froze in place. Lin Fong and Changyu might not remember her, but she vividly remembered Lin Fong and Changyu. After all, this mother and daughter were the first outrageous people she had encountered in her life, the type that nearly infuriated her to death. However, the old lady never expected that this mother and daughter would turn out to be her eagerly anticipated future daughter-in-law and granddaughter. How infuriating! The old lady suppressed her anger, her face cold. She said, So you are Lin Po's niece, Lin Fong? Lin Fong was somewhat perplexed by the sudden change in the grand old lattice attitude. Could it be that this old woman was mentally unstable? At those words, Lin Fang's face drained of color, leaving her as pale as a ghost. Now, she finally understood why the old woman seemed so familiar. She was the same one she had encountered at the mall last time. Didn't they say that Ni Yang was just a small business owner with no real status or wealth? So why was she walking arm in arm with the old lady from the Shangwan family? And why were the two of them so intimate with each other? Lin Fong couldn't have imagined in her wildest dreams that the old lady she had mocked before was none other than Shangwan's matriarch herself. If she had known that was the matriarch earlier, she would have been nothing but polite and done everything to make her happy. The reactions of Changyu and Lin Fong were identical. Her first thought was that she was doomed. Her second thought was that Ni Yang was trying to sabotage her. If it weren't for Ni Yang, she would never have made such a mistake. What should she do now? Baffled by the situation, Shangwan Furong asked, Mom, what are you talking about? Why are you upset all of a sudden? Exactly. Why was she suddenly so angry? Shangwan Su and Shangwan Shi both turned their eyes to their grandmother. Even Shangwan Dehui was a bit puzzled. The old lady was usually very amiable with them and had never been so difficult to talk to before. The matriarch waved off Shangwan Furong's hand and turned to Shangwan Dehui. Dehui, she declared, I object to your association with this Lin Fong comrade. Before Shangwan Dehui could utter a word, Shangwan Furong demanded, Mom, you must be joking, right? Lin Fong is so talented and filial. How can you possibly object to that? Could Su Yin have been stirring the pot? Otherwise, considering the old lattice manners and etiquette, even if she truly objected, she would never humiliate Lin Fong in public. Shangwan Furong couldn't stand Su Yin's smug expression at her success. Sister Su Yin, are you happy now? I'm just being honest. Of course, I'm naturally happy to keep Xiaoxiu and Xiaoxi away from such a terrible stepmother. Su Yin's family background was not bad either. She was not afraid of Shangwan Furong. She just didn't bother to quarrel with Shangwan Furong because she knew Shangwan Furong, as an aunt, truly cared for Shangwan Su and Shangwan Shi. Shangwan Furong simply couldn't stand her, but since she didn't live in the Shangwan house, she didn't need to take it to heart. The more Shangwan Furong thought about it, the more outraged she felt. I think Lin Fong is quite suitable to be my sister-in-law. They'll go upstairs and talk to my mother now. Lady Shangwan had this one precious daughter, and usually she listened to her daughter's words the most. Beijing is a very inclusive city, and it is home to people from all over the country. Although it was Wednesday, there was no shortage of people queuing up to apply for passports. And Ai Yang had been in the queue for more than an hour, and there were still about 20 or 30 people in front of her. And Suehua, sat on the bench nearby, holding little Inai Yun in her arms, waiting for her. "Little girl, what's the relation between that woman holding the kid and you?" The middle-aged woman in line behind Inai Yang curiously asked her. "That's my mother, and the baby she's holding is my sister." Inai Yang replied. The middle-aged woman was startled, then said, "No wonder you guys look so alike. Turns out you're mother and daughter." Inai Yang nodded. "You're also going to M Country?" The middle-aged woman continued. "Yes, I'm also going to M Country." The middle-aged woman excitedly said, "We're really destined to meet, my girl. You must be going to M Country to study abroad, aren't you?" "I'm going to M Country to visit my son." This was the period when studying abroad was becoming popular. Rich families would choose to send their children to get an overseas experience, even if studying in a lesser-known college overseas was much better than studying in a famous college at home. Those were returnees. Could average college graduates compete with them? The middle-aged woman saw that Inai Yang was pretty and dressed well, so she guessed that Inai Yang was definitely going abroad to study. Inai Yang faintly smiled. "We're not studying abroad." "Then what are you guys going abroad for?" "We're going abroad for a vacation," Inai Yang replied softly. Chapter 525. My son has gone abroad. He is so amazing. _1 going abroad for a vacation. At this time, although the trend of going overseas was just emerging, most people were going to work or study abroad. Those who went for a vacation were really few. That's why, when Ai Yin just said she wasn't going for studies, the older woman subconsciously thought she was going to work abroad. It was really something to lament about, thinking how she was going out to work at such a young age. Turns out she's going for a vacation. The middle-aged woman went on. "Little girl, you are really a good and filial daughter. When are you planning to depart?" And Ai Yin smiled and said, "We're probably leaving the day after tomorrow." The middle-aged woman said, "If nothing unexpected happens, I might also be on the plane the day after tomorrow. If we happen to meet, we could go together." And Ai Yin nodded, "Sure." The crowd gradually surged, and it was the middle-aged woman's turn soon, followed by Inai Yan's. Not only Inai Tsuehua and Inai Yin needed to get their passports. Little Inai Yin also had to receive hers. Getting a passport requires taking photos. This was the first time Inai Tsuehua was getting photographed. She was a bit nervous seeing the others take photos, not knowing where to put her hands. Inai Yin took little Inai Yin from Inai Kuihua's arms. "Mom, it's just a photo. You don't need to be nervous." Not nervous." Inai Tsuehua nodded, walking to the light blue curtain. "Smile," the photographer reminded. Inai Tsuehua smiled. Age 37, she had taken good care of herself over the past year. Her skin appeared smooth and moisturized, her figure also well-toned. Wearing a light blue plaid suit with black pants, she didn't look her age. You wouldn't think she's the mother of 2 children. Yes, just like that, hold that pose." The camera captured the perfect moment. The photographer also silently admired Inai Kuihua's beauty. Inai Tsuehua quickly came out to replace Inai Yin. The photographer, who was still in awe over Inai Kuihua's beauty, was stunned when he saw Inai Yin. "Oh my goodness, she is so beautiful. Just sitting there. Her face needs no expression to be the most appealing sight." After Inai Yin left, the photographer and the staff discussed. "The young lady just now was so beautiful. What's her name?" The staff checked the file in his hand. "Her name is Inai Yin. The woman who took photos before her seems to be her mother. No wonder both mother and daughter are so beautiful. It's probably what they call genes in biology." After successfully completing their passports, the mother and daughter left the police station. Yin brought Tsuehua to the home appliance market. Yang, why are we here? Tsuehua was a bit curious. To buy a camera, Yin replied. Why do we need that? To take photos. Yin grinned. Mom, we're going on a vacation. Of course, we should buy a camera. Tsuehua nodded. This store seems pretty good. Tsuehua followed Yin inside. Because both mother and daughter were well-dressed and very beautiful, they received a very warm welcome as soon as they entered. Ladies, please come inside. Are you looking to buy a camera? The shop assistant was a young man. Yin nodded. Do you have Nikon cameras? Seagull cameras, which originated in the early 1950s, are country products with excellent resolution and are the most popular cameras of this era. Yes, we do. The employee continued. Is this for family or professional use? Show me your newest model, said Yin. The newest model? This young lady seems pretty wealthy. The shop assistant immediately brought out the newest model. This is Nikon's newest model FM2, small and easy to carry, great resolution. If you decide to purchase it, we can throw in a camera bag. Nikon FM2 is seriously every camera enthusiast's dream in the 80s. How much is this? Tsuehua asked. This is 3,800 yuan. 3,800 yuan? This figure somewhat scared Tsuehua. She initially thought the camera would cost 700 to 1,000 yuan at most. She didn't expect it to be as expensive as 3,800 yuan. By the way, do you have any foreign exchange coupons? The shop assistant continued to ask. During this period, free trade for imported goods was not implemented. They were only purchasable with foreign exchange coupons. The foreign exchange coupons were only recalled and ceased usage in 1995. Yes. Yin nodded. Although foreign exchange coupons were hard to come by in this era, Mo Chishan had connections, so Yin didn't lack foreign exchange coupons. Grandma Lin's face also darkened. It wouldn't be too bad if they offended anyone else in the Shangwan family, but they had to offend Grandma Shangwan of all people. Disastrous. You really messed things up. Grandma Lin continued, but it's not entirely Xiaoya's fault. You're the one to blame. Xiaoya is still just a kid and sometimes can't control her emotions, but you're an adult. Rather than stopping Xiaoya's impudence, you went along with it. Now that there is a problem, you want to shift the blame onto Xiaoya. Is this how a mother should behave? Lin Fang's face turned pale. Grandma Lin continued. Since it has already happened, it's no use regretting it now. By the way, what is Shangwan Dehui's attitude now? Did he say anything to you? Lin Fang replied. What can he say? Of course, he sides with that old lady. Grandma Lin frowned slightly. Having been together with Shangwan Dehui for so long, don't the two of you have any feelings for each other? Lin Fang remained silent. She and Shangwan Dehui hadn't even held hands before. How could they have any feelings for each other? Lin Fang knew very well that the only thing Shangwan Dehui valued about her was her virtuous and gentle disposition. Didn't anyone in the Shangwan family speak up for you? Didn't you explain to Grandma Shangwan? That old lady wouldn't listen to me at all, but Shangwan Furong did say a few things in my favor. Upon hearing this, hope sprang up in Grandma Lin's eyes. Then this matter might have a turning point. Are you free tomorrow morning? Chapter 529. My son has gone abroad. He is so amazing. _5. Today was the day before Yang's departure abroad, so she decided to cook a grand dinner. After all, it would be hard to get authentic Chinese food overseas. She was riding her bike home when she bumped into Gooden's sister, Li Ronghua. Li Ronghua was 22 years old this year. She stopped attending school after the first year of junior high, due to poor grades when she was 14. Currently, she managed Ni Yang's third skincare store. Her family's financial conditions had improved, and she dressed more stylishly with a red blazer, black leggings, a pair of little leather shoes, and a high ponytail, looking spirited and beautiful. The store manager's salary was 105 yuan per month. Even her friends who graduated from university couldn't earn a salary that high. Li Ronghua was truly grateful to Ni Yang. Yang, Sister Ronghua. Ni Yang firmly applied her bike brakes and jumped off. Yang, didn't you say you were going to M country? Why haven't you left yet? Asked Li Ronghua. Ni Yang answered with a smile. The plane is at 9:30 tomorrow morning. An airplane? Li Ronghua revealed a longing look. I have never been on a plane before. Yang, when you return, you must describe to me what it feels like to be on a plane. Sure. By the way, Yang, could you do me a favor? Asked Li Ronghua. Just tell me, Sister Ronghua. Li Ronghua continued. My boyfriend always wanted a Parker pen. It's not available for purchase here in our country. Could you help me buy one from M country? Here is 200 yuan. Take it with you. If it's not enough, I will cover the rest when you return. Parker pens from M country were quite renowned and a dream come true for many university students. Li Ronghua's boyfriend was a university student. She really loved him, or else she wouldn't be willing to spend 200 yuan. Over the years, she had subsidized her boyfriend a significant sum of money. And Yang accepted the money. All right, we'll keep an eye out for it. Thank you, Yang. And Yang continued. By the way, Sister Ronghua, what year is your boyfriend in now? He has repeated 2 years and is now a sophomore. Li Ronghua answered. Oh, and Yang nodded. You really treat your boyfriend well, Sister Ronghua. Li Ronghua happily laughed. My boyfriend treats me very well too. And Yang continued. If you gave him such an expensive pen, he must have given you many things too, hasn't he? 200 yuan. Li Ronghua wasn't even that generous toward her own parents usually. Li Ronghua casually said, he's still a student. What money could he possibly have? But he has promised me that once he graduates and finds a job, he'll give me the best things in the world. Li Ronghua continued. All right, Yang, I won't keep you. My boyfriend and I agreed to meet at the city library. As she finished her comment, Li Ronghua hurried off.